Thank you all for giving up time to join us here tonight, this evening. I'm Gloria Marsay, and I'm here to talk to you about hope. Using the words of Jeremiah, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." So this is so important for our young people today, and I think even for us. I don't know about you, but life seems to be getting more and more desperate. Is there anybody in this room who doesn't feel every so often completely desperate? Like, so now what, God? Anybody feel like that? A lot of the time. Imagine our younger people, our children and our teenagers who don't have the coping skills that we've learned through life. So I'm not going to start with a prayer. I'm going to allow you to just meditate on this particular piece of music that I use as a prayer. It is a lovely piece of music. Andrea Bocelli, are you going? You are going. It's not giving me sound. Why is it not giving me sound? Somebody with tech knowledge? It was making sound just now. It was going to smell. Nah. Sound.
That's on the TV, isn't it?
The TV's off.
There you go.
So I'll go to the beginning. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing. Just sit quietly and allow the Spirit of God to fall upon us.
Come down in circles and got me going. I don't know what's right, cannot see straight. I've been here too long and I don't want to wait for it. Fly like a cannonball straight to my soul. Tear me to pieces and make me feel whole. I'm willing to fight for it, carry this weight. But with every step I keep questioning what is true. Fall on me with hope and heart. Fall on me from where you are. Fall on me with all your might. With all your life. With all your life.
Okay, I can't compete with him. So we'll go on to the next slide. We talk a lot about faith. We talk a lot about love. We don't often talk enough about hope. So these are the three theological virtues: faith, hope, and love. want you to focus tonight just on hope, but to see how they are absolutely interrelated and intertwined. So, quite an important fellow in our lives has told us this: the most serious of all evils that afflict the world these days are youth unemployment. We in South Africa have the highest unemployment rate in the world, And the loneliness of the old. The old need care and companionship. The young need work and hope, but have neither one nor the other. And the problem is, they don't even look for them anymore. And this is true. One of my main roles that I play in the work that I do is to help people to combat unemployment, to find a way of earning a sustainable livelihood, to use their skills, their God-given skills, to earn money to put food on the table. So if Pope Francis says that, it is our ethical responsibility, our ability to respond to what Pope Francis is telling us. We need to instill hope for the future for our young people. There's been a lot written about hope. One of the books that I particularly enjoy is Pubi's book. I'm taking 3 things out of this book for you. Crisis in Africa represents a culture of despair and a crisis of hope. Theology is the responsibility, the ability to respond, and task of each believer, not just a select few. And Christian theology is an agent of hope. Madiba also spoke so much about hope. This is one of his quotes: "May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears." Lots of books. I'm running through them, but just to show you how much has been written just in the last 2 years about hope. What do you think brought that on? One of the good things that came out of COVID. Hope is a key element to success in planning one's future. This is from research that has been done worldwide. And positive correlation between high hope scores and success in the world of work. So what do we need to be successful in life? What do our young people need to be successful in life? Hope. 4-letter word. Hope. Hope. They need hope. That comes with faith and love on either side. It's a bit like the jam in a sandwich. St. Augustine. Hope has 2 beautiful daughters. I love this. I don't know that I like St. Augustine that much. He said some ugly things about women. But here's what he says about hope. He says hope has 2 beautiful daughters. Their names are anger and courage. Anger at the way things are. So we have to get angry at the way things are. But we've got to also have the courage to see that things don't remain the same. Courage to do hope. It's not about having hope. It's about doing hope. Having hope is very passive. It's like sitting down and hoping to win the lotto. Never will you win the lotto without being active and buying a ticket, right? So we have to do active hope, and that's what this talk is about. How do we do it? How do we do hope? So I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of hope. It's real. It's part of the umbrella of positive psychology in the world today. And one of the gurus of hope is this lovely man who I had the privilege, the pleasure, the enjoyment of meeting at one of the conferences, actually in Padova, Italy, but he lives in Boston. His name is Anthony Scioli. He's Italian, he's Catholic, and he has studied hope and taken it apart and built it back up again. And this is what he says. He says fundamental hope is a skill that can be learned. Did you know that? It's a skill to have hope, to do hope is a skill, and we can learn it. So if we can learn it, we can teach it. And we need to teach it to our young people, right? Especially those that are in despair. So maybe it's because they are unemployed. Maybe it's because they're ill. Maybe it's because they've experienced such tremendous loss and have therefore lost hope. They have become hopeless. Okay. Its hope is constructed, now listen to this, from biological, psychological, social, and spiritual resources. No money, right? It's all stuff that we've got. We've got these resources so we can use them. Tony, I'm going to talk to you about him, okay? He and I have conversations regularly. And he shouts at me when I don't visit him in Boston, but it's like seriously far away. He talks about attachment, in other words, me attaching myself to me. Who am I? Who is my God? Who is my closest significant other? And who am I in relation to my social circle, my community? So that's what he means by attachment. It's a social attachment. Remember in COVID we had to be what? Socially distant. And the psychologists of the country went crazy. They said, you can't be socially distant. You have to be physically distant, but socially connected. They got the words wrong. And we're suffering the consequences now because mental health in the world is suffering. He talks about mastery. So when you think of the word mastery, what do you think of? How to master a skill, right? So it's about learning. What do you know? What can you do well? What do you need to know? What do you need to learn? Okay? He talks about survival. He talks about the survival skills, and I'm going to give those to you in a minute. And he talks about spirituality, which is not religion. It's spirituality. Sometimes the two of them are intertwined. Father, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a theologian. Thank you. Okay, so here we have a canopy of hope. Do you see that all four legs need to be in place in order to hold that canopy up? If you've got a canopy that's three-legged, it's kind of not quite so stable. So we need those four legs. All right, so this is what hope is about. Attachment, it's about social support. Mastery, it's about this competence, being aware of what knowledge we have, developing new knowledge and mastering it, owning what we can do, but also realizing our limitations, because that's an important part of it as well. Then survival is about self-regulation. How do I survive? And there's 5 fingers to a fistful of survival skills. And you're going to learn those survival skills in a minute. And then there's spirituality, which is about meaning and purpose of life. It's about the meaning and purpose of life, of each of our lives individually. How do we love? How do we grow? How do we serve? Okay, so let's look at those a little bit more, deeper. I know that I'm repeating myself, but I think it's just so important. About self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship skills. Mastery is about self-management, responsible decision-making, empowering self and other. So now look at that slide and think about young people. Think about teenagers. They need to learn how to manage themselves in this chaotic world of ours, where we need to have the skills to swim. Think of the world as being a storm, this great collection of water. You dive into the sea, you will drown unless you have the skills. So these are skills that we need so that we can make decisions responsibly. Now, here are the 5 coping strategies. Please put up your hands. Most of you have got 5 fingers. Is there anybody who doesn't have 5 fingers? Okay. The thumb is for, am I calm enough? We have to remain calm. Think stormy sea. Okay? If you're not calm, you're going to drown. Pointer finger is for, can I make a plan to solve this problem? So the pointer finger is about planning. The third finger, the biggest finger, look at the biggest finger, it's the tallest finger. Is there anybody who's got this finger that's shorter than the rest? No, I'm seeing a very long, what did we used to call this? This was Peter Pointer, Bobby Tall, or whatever. Yeah. Hey? Do you remember? Do you remember from days gone by? Okay. Do I need to make changes in myself? Ha! Isn't that about reflection? Look at me. What change do I need to make? Do I need to learn something more? Do I need to do something differently? If I'm in a stormy sea, should I be thrashing away and using my energy, or should I just be calmly waiting for somebody? Or should I be looking to see if there is something that I can hang on to? Something that I can do to help myself? The fourth finger is a ring finger. Hey? Those of us that are married put a ring on the fourth finger because it means that we're socially connected. Yeah? Who can help me? What can help me? Where do I look for help? Can I get help? Okay, that's the fourth finger. It's looking for help. And the fifth finger, when we write, we lean on that finger. Yeah, most often. Sometimes we write like this. Oops, like that, and then our handwriting is properly untidy. But if we lean on something, we can control our writing, right? We can control our lives if we lean on some spiritual inspiration. And maybe it's about prayer. Maybe it's about sitting in a beautiful garden. Maybe it's about listening to music. I don't know what it's about, but it's where do you get your spiritual inspiration from. Okay, meaning and purpose of life is about cultural beliefs and values. Yours might be different to mine, and that's okay. Oh, and values. You know, values change. They're not stable. So, and when I say that, people very often look at me like, huh? No, our values need to be stable. No. When our children were little, it was very important for me to be, firstly, a mother. Now they've grown up. One of them's bigger than me. The other one's still smaller than me, and she's 47. So I don't think she's going to grow bigger than me, so I can still keep her in place, if you know what I mean. But my values have shifted. They are not, yes, they're important to me, but they're not as important to me as they were when they were little children. They've been overtaken now by the grandchildren, right? Meaning in your life role. What is my life role? You know, there was one stage not very long ago where I had too many life roles. I was a daughter. My mother lived to 102 and a half. I was a wife. I was a mother. I was a teacher. I was a psychologist. I was a gardener. I was a housekeeper. Do you know the drill? Okay. So what meaning does your life role give you, and which is your most meaningful life role at this particular point in time? Where are your restful places? Do you know where to go to recharge your batteries? We all know that we have to plug into the wall to recharge our tech stuff. But where do you, as a person, need to go or be or do to recharge you? Because that's an important thing for us to know. Maybe it's uplifting music, maybe it's walking in nature, maybe it's swimming in the sea. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, you need that inspiration, that spiritual interaction with yourself and your God, your Creator. And that helps us to be loving and kind and faithful, and to practice what we do. So, there is hope in a nutshell. That's hope. Does anybody want to make a comment or ask a question at this point? You're all stunned. Stunned into silence.
I'd just like to say that your point about mastery, I think, for me is a highlight, because I always used to feel that, some people are just hopeful, people are just not. I never really spent time thinking whether it is a skill that can be mastered. And I think this is so important for our time.
Because we give up hope, because we think that we can't do anything.
You see, that the situation is hopeless, and then we just sit and dwell.
Yes, yes.
But I think, well, okay, this is just where I am now. It is some skill to learn. What is that skill? It's a good seed plant. So when one is hopeless, it's just time to learn that skill.
Even for people who are dying.
What skill can master me? Not to breathe.
No, but to look forward to do what they need to do, and to look forward to the next day to this process.
Living your home and one, if that's been your life, really.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to Madiba, because I do like him. I have a skirt with his face all over it that I do wear every so often. Our human compassion binds us to one another, not in pity or patronizingly, but as human beings who have learnt how to turn our common suffering into hope for the future. To turn our common suffering into hope for the future. So think back to St. Augustine, think back to Pope Francis. And there's 100 people that I could give you quotes from. But I'm going to give you a quote from this fellow. Do you remember him? He's not Catholic, but he's as Catholic as any Catholic I know. He says, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. And then he also says, I'm not an optimist, I'm a prisoner of hope. So on that point, it's about having realistic hope. So somebody dying of cancer can't be, I've lost my train of thought. Somebody dying of cancer can't be optimistic that tomorrow somebody is going to do something that will cure the cancer, right? We need to be optimistic about the reality and accept the reality of what we're going through and do what we can to be comfortable. So working with people who are not necessarily cancer, but terminally ill, or old people that are really facing the last days. We need to have them understand that hope is there and they can still be hopeful about real things, real hope, not unrealistic hope. Okay, going back to the lotto. I will never win the lotto if I don't buy a ticket. I need to do something. So that's the arch. They called him the arch, hey? And then Alan Busak. You've heard of him, I'm sure? Okay, in good ways or whatever. He speaks a lot about hope. He's written a lovely book called Dare We Speak About Hope? Dare we? And he says, Africa's people search the skies in vain for that canopy of hope. Did you see the canopy? You know what the canopy needs now? It needs 4 legs. Under whose shade they can find peace and sustainable, abundant life. Sustainable, abundant life. It's about teaching people how to fish, not giving them fish. Sustainable. It's a very important word. And then he says, as he ends his book, he says, it is possible still for people of goodwill to build that canopy of hope and to work for a redeemed future for the people of the world. I quite like his quotes. And now, I'm keeping it short and sweet, this talk. We're nearly reaching the end. But how many of you have heard the song Jerusalema? Do you know it? Do you know where it comes from? It's specifically in Africa, you're quite right. It comes from KwaZulu-Natal. And it is written in isiZulu. It is a song that was written, I think created is the better word, because it's a lot of people. During COVID, it comes from a time in COVID when everybody felt hopeless, disconnected. That song was written here in South Africa, and do you know, in KwaZulu-Natal, in isiZulu, and do you know how viral it went? Hey? We were in Canada recently, and I'm listening to Nanaimo radio, and here they're playing Jerusalem. So let's please listen to it, and what I would like you to do is look at the words. Look at the words and realize how powerful this song is, and how if we engage in these sentiments, we can go viral, like Jerusalem went viral. I'm hoping this. Feel free to dance. Who's going to join me dancing? Okay, it carries on. And again. Keeps going. The words are the same. The message is there. We can't leave our youth to fumble their way through lives. We need to be there with them. Okay, I wanted to make it softer, but it doesn't want to make it softer for me. But
I didn't realize those words in English.
No, we don't.
I'm actually amazed because I've heard the song and I knew it was definitely from the heart and from God, and I knew there was a calling. But I never walk with me, guide me. I never took the time to look it up actually.
This is what hope's about. So go back to Scioli's 4 pillars. Attachment. Walk with me. Not for me, not behind me, not in front of me, with me. With me. Mastery. What can I do? What can I help you with? What can you help yourself with? Survival. How do we need to survive? And where do we get our spiritual inspiration from? So, that's it for now. I hope that I've left you with some thoughts. But before you go, can I please be very cheeky and impose on you? You know, one of the things that perhaps I need to tell you is that one of the hats that I wear is the hat of researcher. So I am one of the, I'm the principal collector for data in South Africa about hope and social emotional learning. So what I would like is for you, please, if you don't mind, to fill in on that piece of paper, and I've given you 2 pieces of paper for in case you need to write a lot, just to answer these questions for me, and please make it anonymous. Please make it anonymous. It's not about, if you want to put your name on, that's fantastic, and if you want us to connect, that's great, I'm happy. What about this presentation most spoke to you? So question 1, if you just write, you don't need to write the question down, just write 1 and your answer. And then 2 and your answer. Spelling doesn't count, okay? Neither does punctuation. And if we did another talk like this, would you attend? And there's 2 other talks that I have got. One is called Navigating the Storm with Hope, and the other one is Becoming a Hope Provider. Have you heard about healthcare providers? You've heard about them, right? These are the people in our healthcare system. They are health providers. We, you and I, are all hope providers. And we need to become hope providers. So I have a talk about how can you provide hope for other people. So now you've learned about hope. Now, would you like to learn about navigating the storm? Would you like to become a hope provider? And then once I've collected these, then we'll see what the most need is. And if you need to write another comment, which is not part of these questions, please feel free to write other comments. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
When you finish writing, screw it up into a little ball and throw it at me. I'm catching. On the table. There we go. Great. Thank you. 1 down, 17 to go. Throwing pieces of paper. Did your teacher allow you to do that at school? Right. Okay. You see. I'm a maverick. Strange person.
From your experience dealing with horror, what's the most effective way to get people to realize that they need this? I'm surprised that there aren't more people here. Because it's such a big issue. But somehow, it's not to criticize, it's just I don't think we found a way to communicate the need.
Yes.
So, well, I need that.
Yes. I think you're 100% right. And I think, I don't know, but I think that it's about people feeling so hopeless. What's the use? So this is the optimism that comes through, because we get disappointed when we are optimistic about something. You know, I've been diagnosed with cancer. I'm hoping for a cure. There is no cure, so I feel hopeless. But people don't realize that it's not about winning the lottery. It's about doing what you can, where you are, with the resources you have to make things better. And I think that if we market it well, it'll go down. So each one of you can perhaps have homework. You know, I told you I was a school teacher once, so I'm giving you homework. Please will you encourage other people to think about hope in this way? Because that helps people to understand that, yes, faith, hope, and love. We talk so much about faith. We talk so much about love and charity, but we skip over hope. And actually, hope is the jam in between the two slices of bread.
I just want to say, the other day I was talking to one of my parishioners from camp, and she had a car that was 13 years old, and the expenses to have this car fixed. And she said if it hadn't been for the hope that she had, that somehow God would provide, because she was thinking now, how am I going to get the money to fix the car and everything? She hadn't even realized that she bought a product at Spa and been entered to the Spa win a car. And the very next day she got a call and she won the car. I'm seriously telling the truth. I spoke to her the other night, a parishioner has been at this church. Because I said to her, I love your new car, and she told me the story.
Right.
And
So do you see how faith, but her faith in God combined with hope.
the hope that somehow she
Ah, I can't play cricket.
fix the car and she got a new car. Get more than what it was.
Okay, anybody else throwing something at me? Not eggs, okay, only pieces of scrunched up paper. Thank you kindly.
Gloria,
Yes.
I think you've got a valuable asset in you because you're doing this research. Helping my generation in the 60s to hope would be very different
Yes.
from helping a teenager
Yes.
or even a young child. What would the kind of differences be? Obviously, it's a big topic.
It is a huge topic, but I'm going to give it to you in a sentence. Most kids say to us, but you don't understand. Has anybody heard that? But you don't understand. And no, we don't understand because we are not in their shoes. So we need to walk next to them and listen to them. It's about being able to talk freely and openly without judgment and without us as older people telling them what to do. Because our plans and our solutions don't work in the world today. The world has changed. And what we did when we were 20 and 30, it was totally different. You know, when I left school, there were 5 things that a girl could do. She could become a secretary, remember those days, a teacher, a nurse. If you were quite clever and you had rich parents, you could become a lawyer or a doctor. And that was it. Now, at one university in South Africa, and I'm old, but I'm not that old. I'm happy to tell you I'm 71. So when I was coming out of school, it was the early 70s. It was 1970, in fact, I left school. Now, at one university in South Africa, I'm not talking about the world, I'm not talking about all the universities in South Africa. I'm talking about one university in South Africa. There are 60,000 different things that you can study. Is there a difference? Yes, there's a difference. So we don't understand. And people come to me for this thing called, parents send their kids to me for career guidance. And I say to them, I don't do career guidance. Firstly, careers don't exist anymore. There's no such thing as a career. Career means we start here and we climb the ladder to the top. No, it doesn't work like that. Now we have to go this way. It's a network. And it's not about a career, it's about earning a sustainable livelihood. The words have changed. And guidance means that I know everything. I don't. I don't know everything. So how do I guide this young person? This young person knows what it is that they can do realistically. I had one young lad that came and said to me, I want to work for NASA, and I'm not going to do anything else other than work for NASA. I want to be in a spaceship. Okay, buddy. Can you do maths? No, flunked maths. Okay, well, you need to get going and do some maths. And so he became motivated now to actually pay attention in maths class. Because if he didn't, you get what I'm saying. So, did that answer your question? Anybody else with questions, comments?
Sometimes it's hard with children because they lose hope from a situation and you don't know how to guide them out of that lost hope because they only see it as, you can often, children that struggle, they don't have shoes, they don't have food, they don't see hope in anything else.
They're right.
So I don't know when you say becoming a hope provider, I don't know what guidelines one can use to actually, because I think everybody has been given a talent, like we said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, I'm happy to do a talk on becoming hope providers because this is my passion. I want us all to become hope providers in our separate communities. Go out and become hope providers. Because remember those 5 survival skills. Okay, these very often help people because I have to remain calm. Okay, if I throw a tantrum, it's not going to work. I have to have a plan. Okay, so let's make a plan. What can we do? What can we change? Where can we get help? Who can help us? What do we need to find? Where can we go for help? And what gives us inspiration? Those 5 survival skills are of paramount importance to our young people. And to us. And to us. Thank you for asking that. That was good. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Please.
Just to say thank you to Gloria for coming in and giving us this wonderful. We can see amongst ourselves that we have people that know how to help us with our present challenges. And so thank you for coming forward. She's written books. Maybe we can start exposing those books. And then I've got them on my desk. I should have brought them. Sorry. We hope for next time. But I'm also really happy to have from other faiths. And it is so big, you know it more than I do, those of you who have children. So this conversation cannot stop here. And sometimes I think there's such a need for it, but we're in a space where we feel we can't talk about it, we almost feel ashamed. And I'm hoping that this will start off getting rid of the shame and blaming and saying, well, let's have a conversation and let's walk the journey. especially for the young parish and pastor. So please talk to Gloria. It's probably easier to talk to her privately. Please do that. And thank you once again for being here, and thank you guys for coming. Because without you, we would have kind of focus. Okay, so God bless you.
Can I remind you that you've got homework? Do you remember your homework? No. Your homework is to go and talk about hope to other people. Okay? This is homework, please. Because we need to spread the word. Which word? Thank you.
And there's tea and coffee if you like to sit and chat, or walk and chat. Socialize.
And please scrunch up your balls of paper and put them here or fold them up neatly.